So yes.
Call the meeting to order. Town Board meeting on Thursday, March 5th, 2026. And before, is this speaker working?
Hello. Get close to it.
Okay. Before we go any further, I'd just like to make a public announcement acknowledging the untimely and unexpected loss of our director at the Senior Center, Robin Corrigan, and make our deepest condolences to the family from all of the town board staff, and a more formal acknowledgement of her contributions and her long service to the town will be made at a time that's more appropriate for the family. So if we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What? Whose mic is on?
That is being seen and heard.
You may want to mention that they're on.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Okay. Supervisor Sturm.
Present.
Deputy Supervisor Rowan.
Present.
Councilman Keneally.
Here.
Councilwoman Culligan via Zoom. Here. Councilman O'Connor via Zoom.
Here.
Thank you.
And Sue, is there anyone signed up for public comment?
Yes. Bonnie DeRitter Hart.
And could you please speak right into the microphone so the audio-video thing will pick up?
You do have it here.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank the board for allowing me the opportunity to address an agenda item. I believe it's number 19, the condition of the North Road. I'm speaking to you tonight wearing multiple hats. I'm a local resident on Blanchard Road. I'm a caregiver of an elderly parent, and I'm the assistant superintendent of the Lake George School District. As a local resident, I must say the condition of the North Road is deplorable and quite frankly a safety hazard. I do believe it does not meet our current safety standards. North Road provides a convenience factor for myself as efficiency and when I travel south, but I do have the other options in going the longer route, less efficient, and a much better maintained road. Unfortunately, others do not have that choice, including emergency responders and some traveling public. My concerns extend beyond my personal inconvenience. Historically, North Road was a straight pass that crossed over the Snowkill Creek many, many years ago. And then when the Target warehouse came in, I was a child, so probably 40 years ago, there was town discussion about redoing the road around the warehouse. At that time, there was studies about the amount of time it would take for emergency personnel to go around to reach the northeast end of the town. As a caregiver of an elderly parent, I personally relied on emergency responders in urgent situations way too often. Adding 2 to 4 minutes to their travel time can be a matter of life or death, something that in my opinion should not have any price tag attached to it. The condition of the North Road does jeopardize that critical response time. And finally, wearing a different hat as the Assistant Superintendent of the Lake George School District, I'm one of the 31 schools made up of the WHWE BOCES. I fully support the current project that is under construction, and I serve on the subcommittee with other superintendents and business administrators, specifically regarding transportation. Talking about times to not conflict with the target work times, as well as routing for students. It may be assumed that all traffic from the BOCES facility will take a right and exit to Wilton Road, or Ballard Road here. However, that is not the case. I'm directly in charge of the Department of Transportation in my district, and many districts transport students with special needs on smaller buses and most in little vans, also based on their IEPs. North Road now becomes a critical route for 20 out of the 31 Wishy-Bocy schools that are traveling north or northeast. They could exit out North Road, get onto Route 32. You could then get north to exit 17, or schools such as Granville, Hartford, Hudson Falls will go directly to Gansevoort, take 32, and out that way. These have been discussions we've had in our subcommittee meetings. Having multiple routes other than just coming out here to Ballard Road is much more efficient. It reduces congestion at exit 16 and the bridge that we currently see back up with traffic, and decrease wear and tear on other roads. In addition, staff employees will travel those roads, and inter-district services will also increase. Currently, the state of the North Road, these are important transportation functions that are placing people at risk. It is my hope that the town board will prioritize repairing and repaving the North Road. The partnership between the town, its residents, employees that work in the town, and of course our students should be a shared priority. We should never put an adult or a child's safety at jeopardy. In future meetings, I'll be happy to continue to provide data from my colleagues about the routes and transportation needs that they foresee once that Wishy-Bocy's facility does open. I thank you for your time and consideration.
I just want to tell you that the condition of North Road is on our agenda tonight. I don't know if you've noticed, so yeah.
I do have pictures as well that you can see the amount of gaps in an 8-inch easement that we still cars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam Rickett.
Hello, everybody. I am also here to talk about North Road. And I would like to segue off what the woman before me had spoken.
You can take the mic off or out. There.
There we go. Better?
Yeah.
I'd like to segue off of what she said. The road doesn't simply need to be repaved or repaired. I called the highway department with a complaint, and Mike from the highway department called me back and informed me that the road has been retopped at least 3 times in the last decade. What this road needs is a complete reconstruction, which is not cheap. It sits on a clay subsoil, which is very susceptible to freeze and thaw cycles, as well as drainage problems. So the real problem is funding. And I know small towns, there's lots of roads that go bad every winter, so there's a lot to worry about. I feel that a good idea for finding funding for this road is, 1, either going through the state, or 2, pressuring the large Target warehouse to help fund the road, being that their employees, it could be argued, are part of the detriment of the road itself over the last few years. So I thank you for having this on your agenda, because it is a community problem that we're all paying attention to, and I hope to see a good resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mark Daly.
Good evening, everyone. Supervisor on the board, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here. My name is Mark Daly, and I'm the co-founder of the Christopher Daly Foundation, here with my wife Maria, who's also co-founder. And I'm also, as of Monday, I am the chair of the Wilton Recreation Commission. We're a commission made up of 9 different individuals, all volunteer, all motivated at this time to get some work done, looking out for the recreational needs of the town. Starting in 2026, 6th, we had the good fortune of having Erin Colligan become our liaison. She's been to 2 of our meetings already. She's given us a lot of enthusiasm and ideas, and we have some motivated people on the board, as I said. We quickly set out and came up with 4 objectives that we'd like to achieve. And the primary one, the first one we came up with, was to develop a master plan for Gavin Park. This plan, the last time a plan was developed for Gavin Park was in 2005, and that was before even the Christopher Daly Gymnasium was built. A lot has taken place there. A lot of the plan has come to fruition. As time has gone on, however, elements of the infrastructure are starting to age. There are a lot of issues, as most of you know, particularly with parking, the condition of the bathrooms, and the gym floors might need some work as well. So many things are going on out there. So having a well-designed plan is, we see it as like foundational to making good decisions about budgeting and also about prioritizing the work that needs to be done that'll benefit the Gavin Park and make it more effective. We have seen some good projects come across, pickleball courts, pavilions, and other improvements, and they've been positive. They have gone forward without much thought whether the town was making the best use of the spaces and resources. There's a lot of space there. We ran a survey, the commission that is, and we came up with a recreation survey where we queried the town residents and had pretty good response. We know that the town really supports Gavin Park and having things continue as they are there with a lot of new additions that we're talking about. We did already speak with the LA group in combination with Ross McNeil, who's the director of Gavin Park, and Aaron and Ryan, and also our commission. And LA group, we chose them as a possibility to do this for us because they have historical context. They did the last one in 2005, and they've submitted a plan for that. It seems to be well designed. So looking at that and looking where we want to take things in the future for Gavin and for the town specifically, on behalf of the board and our commission, that is, we really support this plan, and we hope that the town agrees to it as well. So thank you for giving me a chance to speak, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
That's it.
Okay. And request a motion for approval of last month's minutes.
Make a motion?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Sorry, was that?
They both said yes.
They both said yes? Okay. All right, unanimously approved. And our next item is a presentation by our Saratoga County Sheriff's Department. We now have a contract, it's been in existence for a few years, to have specific services from the Sheriff's Department, but this year we actually have a designated deputy dual who could not be here this evening, so our sheriff is going to talk about it along with Deputy DJ.
Yes.
And
Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you.
Right, hit the button?
That just has to be close.
Real close.
Okay. Put it right in my mouth. Got it. Great. Hi, everybody. Hi, board members, online board members. My name is Jeff Brown. I'm your county sheriff, and happy to be here tonight. We just wanted to go over real quick some of the program there. I can tell it's going now. Some of the highlights, some of the programs will be brief, and they got a large agenda tonight, but that the sheriff's office offers. And Lieutenant Thompson, who's a key member of my command staff, is going to go over a few of those things. But as the supervisor said, Michael Dool is the deputy sheriff assigned Monday through Friday day shift to your town, and that's new this year to have a consistent deputy that's assigned to the town that the contract is for. He's a town resident, he's a young guy, and I think you're going to be very happy with his services. Lieutenant Thompson's going to go through a couple of the programs, just highlight them, but you can find more information. I have a brand new website that just got launched in January, saratogasheriff.gov. If you go there, you can see more on the programs, and there's also a contact us button if you want more information. So I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Thompson.
Thank you. Oh, really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for having us tonight. Thank you, Sheriff. Real quick, I just wanted to highlight some of the programs and ancillary, extracurriculars that we offer at the Sheriff's Office. We're more than just, sitting in a police car and pulling people over and writing tickets. So just a few things I want to go through. Obviously, we have a strong road patrol presence. Approximately 142 sworn members of the department, which includes around 114 deputies, 17 sergeants, their first-line supervisors, 5 lieutenants like myself, and 5 captains, et cetera, et cetera. We have a full criminal investigations unit, which consists of 13 members, including 2 senior investigators. We have a narcotics division, and a few of those investigators are assigned to the ATF task force, DEA task force, and HSI task force. So they work directly alongside those federal units. We offer K-9. We have 6 K-9 members, including 1 in our correctional facility. Spec Ops team, our SWAT team, consists of 16 members, which includes 4 sniper units. Crash reconstruction, dive team, boats, snowmobiles, ATVs, bike patrol, which I'm actually in charge of. We have motorcycles. Obviously, we're responsible to maintain a correctional division within Saratoga County. Office of Emergency Services, Office of Professional Standards, Communications, which is our dispatch unit, responsible for police, fire, and EMS throughout the county. We staff a civilian civil department, records, pistol permits, and that's kind of just a brief lump of what you can find on our website. It's like, again, it's more than just sitting in a police car. It's managing pretty much all of Saratoga County. So I can answer a couple questions if anyone has anything specific. That's just a brief overview, sir.
Yes, the traffic issues around our schools have changed, or
sure.
School open. It's hazardous, and can you address if you're able to help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a designated traffic unit. It's reconditioned as of this year. We classify it as a special enforcement unit. We have designated property checks, speed checks. If anyone has a specific concern, sir, I know you mentioned schools, please let us know times, any specific offending vehicle. We can certainly add it to our, our blotter, and we can address that daily.
We have a lot of programs. We have a Project Lifesaver program. If you have somebody that autistic kids are often on that, kids with autism, and seniors with Alzheimer's. So it's a way we can track those individuals if they elope and are difficult to find.
So it's a bracelet, an ankle, or a wrist bracelet?
Or an anklet, yeah, that can go on the individual. We have tools to locate them should they wander off or take off. So that's on our website, along with our Yellow Dot program, which is helpful for seniors. We have a Blue Envelope program, which is great for persons with autism when they drive. If they get pulled over, a Blue Envelope to hand over. So a lot of programs. Again, we don't want to take up a lot of your time. Thank you, Lieutenant, for offering, and just thanks. I want to extend my personal thank you to the town of Wilton, who has been a big supporter of public safety, especially the Sheriff's Office, for many, many years. So I want to thank you guys for everything you've done for us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Great.
That's right.
Hey, among the many valuable services that the Sheriff's Department provides for our community and other communities around the county are the SROs, the school resource officers, and we have their presence at the Dorothy Nolan School, the Maple Avenue School. Do you anticipate there being any changes for that program?
No changes. In fact, we bolstered that program just within the last month by adding another supervisor to the unit as well as a full-time backfill sheriff's deputy. So we've enlarged the school resource officer program just recently, and I fully support the program, and certainly we have a few schools that look at adding the program also, so it's great. Thank you, Ray.
No, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next item, she's already up there.
Oh, my light. It's this one, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And is the projector on? Margot? It's coming. It's coming? Okay. So Margot Olson is going to do her quarterly presentation on Wilton Wildlife Preserve and Park, and it's a month early.
Thank you for accommodating.
Of course.
So I will be quick tonight, since I know it's a big agenda. We just wanted to highlight that our attendance, looking at January and February for all the different programs. I wanted to point out that with the Welcome Cabin being open now, you can see that we had over 1,000 visitors stop by the Welcome Cabin in the month of January and February. People coming in, picking up maps, renting skis, renting snowshoes, coming in for programs. So that is now a significant part of our programming and of our attendance. And the number of attendance at 2,754 in January and February is almost exactly the same as the first quarter, January, February, March last year.
Wow.
So again, when you plan a building and you plan programs, and then to see that come to fruition is really exciting. So I wanted to point that out. And then between our after-school programs, our school programs, that's another 20% of our attendance, public programs, and then community events, rounding out what we have going on. I wanted to do a quick update on the Larry Gordon Outdoor Education Center. Besides the Welcome Cabin, we are moving ahead with phase 2. We had a good meeting with Ryan and Ray and Scott going over the existing building of the Winter Lodge, and we are modifying our planning. The building isn't really renovatable, is that a word? It's not worth doing the cost it would be because the bones of the building are not worth it. So we're looking at building a new building in its place, so that building will come down, and we will put a new building in. The LA Group donated a site plan kind of showing where that building would be on the site. And then another cost savings would be if we build that building a little larger, the multi-purpose room, classroom, public meeting space that was going to be accommodated in renovations of the dining hall, we can do right in that building. And so, the town again, focused us on doing it that way to be more efficient, more effective, and then we'll be able to get everything accomplished more quickly and more economically. So we're also going to be doing some repairs to the Ranger Cabin, which has been sitting vacant, and we'll be able to use that for intern housing. We got a grant that will pay for a full-time intern for the coming year, and so we'll be able to house them there and do some other, use that building as well. And so right now we're working on developing the budget for this phase 2. I keep bugging Brian and Scott with questions about the building so that we can get the budget moving ahead, and so that we can then present that change to the grant, New York State Parks, that we have the grant for that building. So, any questions about that? So then, just super quickly, again, we were looking at the attendance, so just so you can see between schools and after-school programs, you can see the variety of different schools around the area that we're working with. Of course, we have a lot of programs with Dorothy Nolan, with Ballard Road, with Schuylerville, the ones that are really close by, but we also do programs at other schools as well, and the after-school programs through BOCES. Some of the community events that we participated in and that will be in the first quarter in March as well. And then you can kind of see some of the different public programs, the very winter-oriented public programs that we've had the last couple months. And the winter has been great. We've had snow cover on the trails really, for months now. And so people have really been getting out and using the trails. And it's really nice to see people enjoying the park, Camp Saratoga, and getting out onto the state land there as well. So we're looking ahead to spring. It's true, and many people are. as much as we love the winter, I think people are getting a little tired of it. So we're planning ahead for our April vacation program, all of the spring bird walks, other kinds of nature walks, programs. We have the Earth Day essay contest coming up. We have a new trail challenge that we're going to be introducing on Earth Day. Butterfly walks coming up, our annual wildlife festival, and our board is planning they want to do another fundraiser to help raise the funds we need, and so they're looking at a fundraiser in May that will take place at Camp Saratoga, and so we will be requesting from the town board permission to perhaps be able to have alcoholic beverages at Camp Saratoga. I know that that's not, it needs this is some kind of special permission. I don't know if it's voted on or that process. So that would be at the end of May. So we'll be working with the Wandering Voodoo caterer for that event. We're going to do sort of a camp-style program with s'mores and grilled cheese sandwiches and kind of camp food, and make kind of a fun little event to help us with our fundraising. So I think that kind of quick overview of the winter months here. And if anyone has any questions?
When is the annual wildlife festival?
That is the Sunday after Memorial Day weekend. So this coming year, it'll be Sunday, May 31st. And we do that at Camp Saratoga. It's from 11 to 3 at Camp Saratoga.
Awesome.
Thank you, Margot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's always a highlight. Please.
Thanks, Margot.
Okay, the next item is, came up, this was about a resolution, one of the, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, 90 organizational resolutions that are like town business that goes on year to year that you have to pass in January. So I didn't know which end was up in January. And subsequent to that, I went to a training held by the New York Association of Towns in mid-January, and it became clear that utilizing a stamp with my name on it to stamp checks is simply not best practice. So hence, I'm requesting a motion to rescind resolution number 36, which states the town comptroller, pursuant to town law, article 8-124, that the comptroller assumes the duties of an accounting supervisor with approval to countersign checks and/or to use the supervisor's signature stamp as deemed necessary. So I'm requesting a motion to rescind that resolution. And it will be replaced immediately afterwards with a new one. And second? Is that Ray?
I think Ray.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
Nope.
Okay, unanimously passed. And now the next item is resolution number 108 that now clarifies what, in my conversations with the state comptroller's office really is best practice as a supervisor and being in the position that I'm in. So the town comptroller, be it resolved, pursuant to town law article 8- section, that's what that squiggle means? Section 124, that the comptroller assumes the duties of an accounting supervisor with approval to countersign checks, period. The use of the supervisor's signature stamp is not permitted, period. And this means that I have to personally sign all the checks as well, which
has been working very well.
Yes.
We started to do this practice internally, and we have a rhythm and a system. Sometimes it involves catching Tony as soon as she comes in the door, but it works. And also I have attended training at the New York State Comptroller's Office, and it's indicated as best practice because of access. So even though I keep the signature stamp under 2 locks, there's 2 systems, so you have to have a lock to get into where it is and then another lock to get to really where it's at. So it's just that what the state comptroller's office has said is that if you ask anybody in the office, they'll always know where the stamp is. So it's really best to not have that access. So we're doing away with that practice.
Okay, so requesting a motion to pass resolution number 108.
Make the motion.
And I will second.
All in favor?
Wait,
Yes, sorry.
Does it make sense, in case there's some sense of urgency, timeliness, for there to be an alternate signer, like a deputy supervisor, in the absence or unavailability of the supervisor?
You know, I spoke to folks at the NIAT training meeting, and several supervisors who were there who were also in a part-time position as I am, and they all felt that there really is no urgency, that a lot of people would, on a once-a-week basis even, you know, sit down with the comptroller and would be presented checks and would be signed. So from the several people that I spoke to, nobody seemed to indicate that the issue ever came up, that there was so much urgency that it was needed.
Okay.
But thank you for thinking of that, Ray. Now I forgot where we were. So,
Moved and seconded.
moved and seconded, so all in favor?
Aye.
And I guess, I think I will abstain. I'm not sure if I should, but I will. Any opposed? No, okay, so passed 4-1 abstention. Thank you. The next item is going to be a presentation about a proposed PUDD at 683 Route 9, which is the site of the former Pepper's Turkey Farm and the historic Brill Building in Scott Lansing. We've had several meetings since the last presentation, and sort of they've made adjustments to a lot of the questions and comments that we brought up, so he's now representing. Second one. Yep.
Good evening, Scott Lansing with Lansing Engineering, representing 683 Saratoga Road. This is a plan development district. We were before the board last month overall. Actually, the project was received well. We did obtain some comments from the town board and some additional comments as well. Our ultimate goal for this evening is to ask the board to set a public hearing for the next meeting. We have received comments from the board. We'd love to receive comments from the public as well, so we can fold those into the project, incorporate any revisions that everybody would like to see, and then come back for the board's consideration of approval. So just very quickly on the project itself, it is located at 683 Saratoga Road, so Route 9 is in this vicinity. We have Northern Pines and just north of that area. This is a close-up of the parcel. Sorry, this of the parcel, and you can see there's some existing structures on the southeast corner of the parcel, a pond in the middle of the parcel, and outside of that, the parcel is overall vacant. It is approximately 31 acres in size. It is zoned RB1, residential business 1.
Scott, can I interrupt? And it's just south of that, of the veterinary practice there, and it's just opposite across the street from SUNY Adirondack.
Could you just move the microphone closer so that anybody watching online can hear?
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. Hopefully that's better. As far as the project itself, we are proposing a mixed-use planned unit development. So on the southern portion of the parcel, southeast portion of the parcel, the structure is proposed to be maintained. This is an existing historic structure. As far as what we are proposing for the project itself, we are proposing 70 condominium units. So before that was 80 units, that has been reduced. and I'll get to that in a minute. And then we are proposing 2 mixed-use buildings in the front portion of the parcel. So as far as the condominiums, they are 10 units per building, 7 buildings, 3-story buildings, a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units, and each unit will have a garage. So every single unit will have a garage associated with it, and it will be owner-occupied. They are targeted towards young professionals, retirees, empty nesters, and seniors. What they are proposed as a mid-price option for residents within the town of Wilton. There are apartments, and then there are single-family homes. A lot of the single-family homes are much higher priced. This hits that midpoint for residents within the town and provides an option. As far as the structures in the front, there are 2 structures. They are 7,500 square feet. As far as the footprint of those structures, those are proposed to be 3-story structures. So the first floor is proposed as commercial retail with uses outlined in the proposed PUD ordinance, and the second and third floor are proposed as apartments. So on the second and third floor of each one of the units, there will be 15 units, and each one of those for a total of 30 units, 30 apartment units overall. As far as the roadways, we are proposing private roadways throughout the site. So roadways, driveways, parking areas, all that will be privately owned, operated, and maintained. We're not proposing for any of that to be dedicated to the town for maintenance, so everything would be maintained by the owners of the complex. We are proposing public water, public sewer, stormwater would be managed on site. And as far as pedestrian access, we have a couple of different things here. We have a sidewalk system, so the sidewalk system does connect all the residents within the project out to Route 9, connects them to the commercial mixed-use structures in the front. And then also we are proposing, and it's a little tough to see, so I'll zoom in. We are proposing as a part of the project a sidewalk extension as a community benefit. So going towards the north, up towards the new canopy facility, with a crosswalk across Route 9, which is proposed by SUNY Adirondack, and then extending down towards the south, there is an existing sidewalk system to the south connecting up there as well, also with a crosswalk proposed across Route 9 immediately on the southeast corner of the project. Last but not least, as far as pedestrian connectivity, we're proposing a trail system. So the trail system is going back on the project. The parcel's cut off. This only shows about the front, maybe 10 or 8 acres. The trail is proposed to extend back towards the west, up towards the top of the hill to connect with future trails in that particular area. We are proposing a 4-lot subdivision, so the residential structure on the southeast corner, that is proposed to be on 1 lot, the commercial building on 1 lot, this other commercial building on another lot, and then last but not least, the condominiums would be proposed on a 4th lot. As far as the adjustments since the last time we were before the board, there was a request for us to take a look and adjust the buildings in the front. You might recall those were commercial-only 1-story buildings. There was a request to take a look at those and see if we could make those mixed-use buildings. The applicant was amenable to that, and we did take and put this plan together to put together that mixed-use building as I did present. There's also a request to provide a second crosswalk up by SUNY Adirondack. That has been added. And then last but not least, there was a request to take a look at the sidewalk and how that would be phased. There was a request to try to put that as far forward on the project as we can. The thought for that is with the first 3 buildings, the thought was to construct a sidewalk by those 3 buildings, go to the north, connect up towards the canopy. That was thought that would be a good amenity for the area. The second phase would be with the construction of these 4 buildings, construction of this sidewalk as well as a sidewalk out to Route 9 and the sidewalk to the south, so there would be a nice continuous loop through that area. And then last but not least, once the commercial buildings are built, mixed-use buildings, the sidewalk along those, because that sidewalk is in very close proximity to those buildings. We do not want to construct the sidewalk, construct the buildings, destroy the sidewalk, have to reconstruct the sidewalk. So that was a thought as far as phasing of the sidewalk. That is essentially it. That's a quick recap here for any questions and comments the board might have. And again, we would like to set a public hearing, ask the board to consider setting a public hearing for next month so we can gather public comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And again, to reiterate, you're envisioning that each of these commercial buildings that actually, since with the addition of the apartments on top, that you needed to expand the size of the buildings to accommodate for issues that arose out of adding 2 layers above, so that the actual usable footprint within each building is still closer to what was originally proposed at 6,500 square feet.
Correct, yes, thank you for bringing that up. As far as the footprint, previously they were 6,500 square feet. We bumped them up to 7,500 square feet. Reason being, we're anticipating about 1,500 square feet on the first floor of each one of those buildings for an entrance corridor, an elevator, mailboxes, stair towers, because I assume each building will have to have 2 stair towers, and just general amenity area for the multifamily on the upper floors. With that 1,500 square feet, we're still up to 6,000 square feet within each building. We typically see tenant sizes between 1,500 and 2,000 square feet, so we have between 3 to 4 tenants per building for a total of 6 to 8, something in that range.
Could you bring me through the logistics of how owner occupancy will be checked, enforced?
It will be a condominium association, so in order to purchase a condominium, an individual would have to purchase that unit. So that
right.
The buildings in front, those would be apartments, those would be rentals in the front. So mix of rentals and owner-occupied and commercial.
Gotcha. And then owner occupation, I mean, is that written into the condo association bylaws, or is it like a period in which one must occupy it after a purchase before leasing or renting?
That would have to be something would be incorporated into the condominium association documents by the attorneys, and I'm sure reviewed by the town attorney. I don't have a good answer for you on that, quite honestly, but that would be with the documents that were prepared and approved by the AG's office.
Okay, thank you.
And we actually discussed initially, when we started having discussions about this, about thinking about expanding the trail system that goes all the way up to the top of the ridge to the back of the property, where Saratoga Plan is in process of creating a whole network of trails, and thought about, would it be possible to put a small parking area amongst your parking spot that would give the public access to those trails. But then as you pointed out, it became clear, if all the condominiums are a homeowners association and you have public people from the public walking right between the buildings, that's really a condominium HOA. It's really private property, that it would cause all sorts of issues, and that it really isn't that far away from, what is it, a couple hundred yards or a quarter of a mile up the road, the community forest with a large parking lot.
Yes.
Sorry if I missed this, but I understand that there is some impact to wetlands with this.
Correct.
I'm just wondering what the status is of working with DEC.
We have had extensive conversations with the DEC. This project did fall under the jurisdiction of DEC as of January 1st, 2025. Prior to that, it was not jurisdictional to the New York State DEC, and believe it or not, this is considered an urban area, so any size wetland is New York State DEC jurisdictional. So we have had wetlands delineated by wetland scientists. We have presented that delineation to DEC. We have actually gone up to DEC and met with the folks up at DEC to talk about this specific project, the layout of the project. Because we did have some other layouts prior to this layout where the roadway did go into the back. We had units up in the back portion of the parcel. Even though it was upland outside of the 100-foot buffer area, they encouraged us, if not directed us, required us to move everything to the bottom, and we do have some slight 100-foot buffer impacts and a small wetland impact, but they preferred that over us going towards the other side of the project. Mm-hmm. So we've had conversations with them, and we feel we're on a good path to the DEC.
Gotcha. And then, the number of units has been reduced pretty substantially. I'm wondering if that's impacted, given that, it changes a lot of the costs, profit margin calculations, I'm sure, for the developer perspective, if the price point of these has also shifted.
I don't believe so, in that we're pretty much dealing with the same building footprint's going to be slightly larger for the apartments. There will obviously be the construction costs associated with the apartments over the top of the commercial, and we did reduce down the number of condominiums. We did remove one of the buildings, so I think things are pretty similar cost-wise from start to finish, so the cost should be similar.
And the removal of the one condominium with 10 units was because adding the apartments above the commercial space meant you needed more parking spaces, so all of a sudden you expanded your parking lot, and with the kind of the configuration of the land, the only option was to remove one of the condo buildings.
Yes, exactly.
What's the thought for the style of apartments available?
Style of the apartments, you have, this is an image that we have not had an architect put together drawings for the buildings just yet, but this is a style that the applicants like as far as the look and feel of the structure, mass and scale. This is a three-story building similar to what we're proposing for the condominium units. So these would be the back of the units, the garages would be on the other side, so this would be primarily what's facing Route 9.
Mm-hmm. And one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom?
Mix of 1 and 2s, possibly 3s. I don't think the applicant's gotten quite that far.
Mm-hmm. But it would be a variety.
Yes.
And then with the addition of, I guess, net 20 more dwelling units, is there a big impact on traffic?
There should not be, no. I mean, it's a relatively minimal increase on the overall. We are going out to a state road, which has a good capacity. I believe we did put together a traffic study. We'll update that for the additional 20 units. We put these revisions together quite quickly, so we didn't have a chance to update that, but we absolutely can.
So it was an additional, actually, 30 units of apartments, but minus 10 of the condo, so it's adding 20 units to the...
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that the traffic study was from a prior draft, because the traffic study was like, what, like 85 new trips a day on Route 9 or something like that?
You know, I did not bring a copy, but that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then I understand that like 100 additional trips triggers like a more significant study. So there is a world in which the addition of these units, if it adds like 15 more trips a day, which I imagine it would require an additional traffic study to understand impacts a little further.
That is a potential. The commercial retail did decrease slightly. We went from 7,500 to 6,000 per building, net 6,000. So as far as the, I'm sorry, 6,500 to 6,000. So as far as the commercial decrease, commercial is a pretty good trip generator. So we might balance out somewhat, I'm saying, but we'll update the study and we'll see where it comes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my question is, and maybe this is for, this is essentially for Aaron and Ray, which is, let's say this new change indeed triggers a requirement for additional traffic study. Is the order of operations here to have that new number in hand and get that study done before we set a public hearing? Or would we set a public hearing, without that information in hand?
My personal opinion is I think you're safe setting the public hearing. If issues remain, whether it's traffic or any other issues, we can always postpone an actual vote on the approval or disapproval of the PUD date after that date.
Okay.
While keeping the public hearing open.
Sure. Great. Okay.
Point, Council.
And I feel confident that we can provide an updated study prior to the meeting, so the board and the public has a good amount of time to review it prior to that public hearing.
Awesome.
And as well, the language in the PUD, well, we're calling it PUD. I think in your document it was PUDD, that's available online. The wording has not been updated to reflect these changes, so that proposed PUDD that's available right now online does not reflect what we're discussing now. So that will become available and then be finalized and be available before the public hearing. But it will include basically in legal language what was just discussed here.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
Let's just reiterate that the traffic study we did, town board did have a third-party engineer review their existing traffic study, and they did a quick review of it, and there was no significant comments on it. And it was known that I did talk to the traffic engineer with the updated numbers, and they're looking into updating the numbers already. So it's something that's forthcoming within weeks.
Wonderful.
That will be updated before public hearing is held.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm requesting a motion to set a public hearing.
April 2nd, 7 p.m.
April 2nd at 7 p.m. at the next town board meeting.
I'll make a motion. Aaron.
And second?
I'll second.
Joe, thank you. All in favor? Aye. And unanimously passes. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay.
You too.
Thank you.
The next item is a proposed local law. It would be local law number 2 of 2026. And Connor, if you could discuss it and delineate.
Great. So in the course of, town business and discussing with our wonderful council, came across the fact that if we are to elevate a code enforcement matter to the Supreme Court, or if in any world we as a town have to hire counsel to go to court, and the judge rules in our favor, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, I'm no lawyer. We have, despite being in the right, and winning the case, are still liable for our legal expenses, which can be extraordinary. And it is in a lot of other town codes that if there is a cost of enforcement of town code, where, it rules in our favor, where part of the penalty to the offending individual or entity would be a reclamation of those legal costs that we have incurred, that the taxpayer has incurred. So it struck me, as reasonable to add to our town code to allow that enforcement cost to be, returned as a penalty in a proceeding. Is that right, Mark?
It is, but I just have to pick on the word allow.
Please.
There's nothing.
Compel.
No.
No, don't trust me.
Just the opposite. There's nothing we can do to guarantee recovery, but it's helpful to have the authorization to include that recovery as part of the civil penalty. It will help a court award the expense as part of the civil penalty. There's nothing we can do to require it.
Right.
So we can't guarantee it, but this paves the way to at least be able to seek it and hopefully get it.
Right, thank you. And this language has been looked over by lawyers and code enforcement, John in the back. So I personally feel like it's had the proper eyes upon it.
And it's also in an attempt to up the ante for someone, a person or an entity who is simply not responding to fulfilling their obligation to meet town code to the point where it's going before the court and sometimes even being escalated to the Supreme Court, that knowing that if you lose, and which is very likely if you're not in compliance and have been given innumerable opportunities to get into compliance, that the additional threat of having to pay the town's legal costs perhaps would influence people to step up to the plate and do what needs to be done. I'm requesting a motion.
Is there any discussion?
Oh.
April 2nd, 7:01.
Sorry. Thank you, Sue. So we are setting a public hearing for this for April 2nd at 7:01 p.m. at the next town board meeting.
I'll make a motion to set that.
Second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No. Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Sue?
Delegate Pond fishing regulations, this is a recurring resolution that's posted at Delegate Pond after we stock fish on or around April 1st, as long as the water is warm enough. The stocking program is for the town of Wilton's disabled residents and youths under the age of 16 only. Fishing is April 1st, October 15th, and will be reserved for fishing by the disabled residents and youths, and may be assisted by an immediate adult family member. Fishing limit is 2 fish per day. No live bait is allowed. Sorry.
Message.
That part doesn't.
What kind of fish are we putting in this pond?
Trout.
Trout. I love a good trout. Yeah, fantastic. I'll make a motion to adopt this.
I'll second. Oh. Was that Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And all in favor?
Just a quick question. This is an annual resolution we didn't get to in our 75 set of them.
Correct. This is just another one. We usually do it in the spring.
Right. Oh, okay, I see. So we're doing it anticipating the season?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Passes unanimously. Sue, do you want to announce the annual ethics training?
So every year we have an annual ethics training done by council. And I spoke to Mark, and the availability would be for 6 p.m. on May 28th. It's a Thursday. It's before the ZBA meeting. That works for everybody? Okay.
What's the time?
6 p.m. It's a 1-hour training.
I might be in Washington, D.C.
Can that be done remotely?
Yeah.
Oh, could. Mark, can Connor participate remotely?
Fine by me.
Okay.
Great.
Also, we did have a request from Ryan Gettings, who is on our Ethics Advisory Board. He would like 5 officers from the Wilton Fire Department to be able to join us for that. And I spoke to Mark, and he doesn't have an issue with it, but I needed to check with the board.
I don't see any problem with that.
No.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. I will let him know.
So they don't do their own ethics training?
I'm not really sure what happens. Maybe they don't.
Is this the one that's every 2 years?
Yes.
So maybe those 5 are just on an off year.
Well, they usually don't do it with us, the Wilton Fire Department.
No, I meant as far as doing their own.
Maybe. That could be. I will check with him on that.
Okay. Great, thank you. And the next item, responses to town requests on speed limit reductions. Go ahead, Sue, do you want to?
This is in response to your December 12th, 2024 letter requesting a reduction in the speed limit on Dimmick Road in the town of Wilton. We apologize for the extended delay in our response. Dimmick Road was reviewed from Wilton Gansford Road to Ballard Road within the town of Wilton. Currently, this highway is unposted and therefore governed by the statewide 55 miles per hour speed limit. Based on our review, we have determined that a reduction in the speed limit is warranted. We got another one. We have written a notice of order establishing a 45 mile per hour speed limit for the requested section of the road in the town of Wilton. Upon receipt of the order, which is currently being filed with the Secretary of State, you may arrange to have the appropriate speed limit signs installed in accordance with the 2023 UTC and New York State supplement.
This is very rare, everybody. You're in for a treat tonight. You saw a successful speed limit reduction request.
And the next one
is not so hopeful.
Thank you for your December 12th, 2024 and September 26th, 2025 letters to the New York State Department of Transportation requesting a speed limit reduction on Northern Pines Road between Route 9 and Ballard Road in the town of Wilton. We apologize for the extended delay in our response. New York State DOT Traffic Safety and Mobility reviewed the operating speeds within this corridor. Currently, the speed limit from Route 9 to a 0.6 miles northwest is 35 miles per hour. From the 0.6 miles northwest of Route 9 to the 0.800 feet north of Traver Road, Northern Pines has an existing speed limit of 40 miles per hour. From the 0.800 feet north of Traver Road to a 0.500 feet south of Ballard Road, Northern Pines Road is governed by the state speed limit of 55 miles per hour. Radar was collected at 320 Northern Pines Road in the 55 mile per hour section and found that the 85th percentile speed limit to be 51 miles per hour. Over 75% of the vehicles were exceeding the posted speed limit, and the highest recorded speed being 54 miles per hour. Radar was also collected at 103 Northern Pines Road and found the 85th percentile to be 57 miles per hour, with 26% of the vehicles exceeding the state speed limit of 55 miles per hour. The 85th percentile speed is the speed at which most drivers feel comfortable. Under these circumstances, we recommend enforcement of the posted speed limit rather than a reduction of the posted speed limit. We will forward our findings to law enforcement agencies for whatever action they may deem appropriate. In addition to the action deemed appropriate by law enforcement, the town may consider installation of radar speed feedback signs via a highway work permit, which would be their responsibility to own, operate, and maintain. We also reviewed the crash history within the corridor, from March 2nd, 2022 to February 28th, 2025, and separated the findings into northern section, Ballard to Traver Road, 2.1 miles, and southern section, Traver Road to Route 9, 2.2 miles. The northern section had a total of 19 reported crashes over a 3-year period. Of these 19 crashes, only 2 were attributed to speed, and of those 2, 1 was also attributed to slippery pavement conditions. The southern section had a total of 37 crashes in a 3-year period evaluation. Of these 37 crashes, 4 were attributed to speed, 4 crashes relating to unsafe speed over a 2.2 mile area in 3 years does not indicate a pattern. So we have 1.
So if any of you have concerns about the whole Northern Pines speed limit issue, I've spoken to our sergeant at the local state troopers barracks on Ballard Road, and they're increasing patrols along Northern Pines, and also our sheriff now, especially with our designated sheriff, our deputy Dual, will also be looking at that and having increased police presence, and we'll be looking in when the weather is warmer, because those radar flashing lights that say, you know, your speed is such and such, the ones that the town of Wilton has are battery operated, so they would the batteries would die pretty quickly in the winter. Ones that the sheriff's department has are mounted on like a little trolley, something with wheels. Right, so you can't install them when you have big snowbanks everywhere, but we'll be sort of being a little bit more aggressive in those ways on these areas where we're not been successful in getting speed limit reductions. So, okay, the next item is, I'm going to leave that for Connor to do, and I actually have to run out and grab something for the item following. So.
Sure, she's a prop. So there is a code enforcement issue in town. Essentially, an individual has been, in violation of a series of town codes in terms of to a building permit that was issued, and for a septic issue. There have been consistent attempts to remedy the concern, including a civil proceeding in justice court for the town. Penalties were awarded, or not awarded, what's the term? Fine. All right, awarded's fine. Penalties were awarded, they were not paid. This has been, a very, very long process, and unfortunately the next step is to elevate it to the county Supreme Court. The objective here is simply to get the property in compliance. And given that every attempt that is within the town's purview to attempt has gone unheeded, we unfortunately as a town board need to elevate it as a next step toward pursuing the goal of compliance. Does anybody have any questions or discussion on this?
How long has this been going on?
Well over a year, maybe over 2 years. I know this is an issue that everyone on the town board's been contacted about, and that predates us. I know the former supervisor at one point tried to go over and work on it himself and had similar results to our town court.
I think we want to make sure we look at this as two different issues. Same house, but the one with the zoning, they were given a variance for the garage that they had built, and were supposed to add gutters and didn't. So there's overflow on the adjacent property.
Right.
The other is the septic, which was repaired a year ago, with the understanding that that Band-Aid was probably only going to last a year. There is county sewer in front of the house.
Right.
With a very large fee to connect. So we had discussed setting up, which we need to do through, I believe, Wilton Water, or possibly the sewer district, about
a sewer district to create a
sewer district to help make that more economically feasible for houses in that area to be able to connect. Not everyone can come up with $18,000, I believe it is, out of their pocket.
100%.
So, Aaron,
we want to look at those issues. Yes, it's the same house, but perhaps two different answers on how to alleviate it. I agree with the zoning violations and them ignoring all of that, heading to the Supreme Court, absolutely. And even I mean, the failed septic, but I think we need to help with an alternative to the septic situation.
So, Aaron, I've spoken to, and I'm blanking on his name right now, the head of the county sewer district. It's called Sewer District Number 1, even though I don't believe there's a number 2, but it's called Number 1. And I pointed out this issue that, you know, when our sewer system in Wilton was under Wilton Water and Sewer, they had this ability to create a sewer district so people could have a payment plan stretched out over, I'm not sure, 10, 15 years applied to their taxes. And does the county have anything like that in place? And he said, no, they don't. And I asked, well, is this something that you would consider? Doesn't this come up? This is a huge amount of money for people to come up with. And he said, well, we get maybe at most 5 requests a year for this, about this kind of thing, and there just wasn't any interest in pursuing it any further. So I think the next step, as I see it, would be to bring it up at the County Board of Supervisors, to first bring it forward to the appropriate committee, which would be Public Works, and I happen to sit on that committee, to see if we can bring a motion to look into creating sewer districts, but then, you know, one is left with the cost that it takes to manage something like that, to sort of, and Saratoga prides itself, the county, on having the 3rd lowest tax rate in all the counties in New York State, or maybe it's the lowest tax rate. So, but those are my thoughts, but these are very long-term solutions. This is not anything that's going to, you know, get put into place in the next month or two, unfortunately. And I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts, Ray, Aaron.
I mean, I'll say I agree with you 100%. You know, there's the issue of the gutters and the swill. that were part of the variance for the permit to construct the garage. And then there's the sewer issue, the septic issue. So, I agree with you that we need to have some sort of program in place, because I've also explored at the county level what's available, and there is a program available that can help with an issue like this, but only for those who are below a certain income threshold, and my understanding is that that doesn't qualify in this case. But with the septic, it is a real hazard at the town level. Like if you have if it fails again, which everyone seems to suggest that it will, everyone who knows how a septic system works well, it's not environmentally safe, it's not safe to the health of residents, it's not safe to the health of those living on the property. And with with it impending, and where there has been such a resistance to working in good faith with the town, I feel comfortable moving forward with this, even if in many other circumstances with a similar code violation, if the circumstances were different, I would not be comfortable with taking this step. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I agree with moving it forward. I just think we need to help develop a solution to the sewer hookup, because it's certainly, I don't think this is going to be the only time this comes up.
Yeah. And John, do you want to...
Moving it forward, I think the town has been more than...
patient.
I want to use the word lenient, patient, thank you, yes. It's been more than patient. And perhaps the Supreme Court is the one that can come up with a plan or a timeline looking at those issues separately.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up, and correct me, Connor, if I'm wrong, is that what was the original plan that was worked out about the septic was that the septic system, that the tank was going to be pumped on a regular basis, and that the owner was going to report to the code enforcement department on a regular basis. Did John correct me if I'm wrong here? Which never happened. And instead, what the homeowner did was get a new distribution box placed and do John, help me here, the words, like a roto-rooter through the drainage field, and it's working for now, but everyone understands that this is a very temporary fix that really should continue to be monitored, and there never has been any attempt to, in good faith, to say, that I'm doing this to monitor, to make sure that we're on top of if the problem should recur. So there's been a real lack of good faith effort, I think, on the part of this homeowner.
That's correct. Throughout the whole process, he was told and asked, please communicate with us. We would like to work with you. At the very least, just communicate. Even in court, please communicate with the town, and at no time did he ever communicate with the town.
And there are really two separate issues. The septic is the main issue, but the other issue was on the garage needed appropriate drainage, which included gutters and a drainage ditch, which is not a massive expense, and there has never been any attempt to address that. So, which is a pretty striking lack of good faith to comply. Septic, I can understand when you're looking at that kind of bill, but to put in gutter along one side of your building of a garage is not, an overwhelming expense by any account.
I'm not even sure, was the CO even issued?
No.
Yeah, so, I mean, just occupying it is in violation.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
And a second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Aaron, was that an aye on your part? Sorry.
She did, yes.
That was, yeah, okay. Okay, unanimous. Thank you. The next item concerns appointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We had left open the final two. We hadn't made a final decision on the two alternates to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and it was postponed until today. So at this point, the two alternates that are currently sitting are Kelsey Mannix and Scott Dussault, and in addition, 4 people had stepped forward who expressed interest in being on the Zoning Board of Appeals: Keith Kaplan, Megan Brennan-Stool, Danny Nazaro, and John Mattingly. And the board has reviewed resumes and had a chance to hopefully speak with the various candidates. And
very much appreciate everybody for their interest as well and willingness to step up for the town.
Yeah, to Connor's point, we're a lucky community. We have so many community-minded, talented people that want to pursue these positions, and it makes it tough to make a final decision.
Very, yeah, very hard.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I'm going to separate the two positions and start by making a motion to appoint to one of the alternate positions Keith Kaplan, and requesting a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And requesting a second?
Is that Aaron?
Yes.
Aaron? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that was Ray as well. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And for the second position, I ask for a motion to appoint Kelsey Mannix.
I'll make that motion.
And a second? Did you hear who seconded?
Ray.
Okay. Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, unanimously opposed. And with...
Approved.
Approved, sorry. It's been a long day. And thank you to everybody who, to the people who've been serving and also to the other people who expressed interest. All right. And the next item on the agenda is an annual, or is it biannual, annual MS4 stormwater report. Ryan, if you could.
Yes. So this is an annual report required by New York State DEC as part of our MS4 program. And just to explain what MS4 is, it's a municipal separate storm sewer system. So instead of repeating that every day, everybody says MS4. And this is a required program. New York State DEC requires it. There's I think 18 communities in Saratoga, or in the Saratoga region here that have to report on this. It's something that Josh and I work very hard on every year. Recording data. It's working with the highway department as well. Maintenance of the storm drains in the roadways. Maintenance of the filtration basins that you see around town that collect the water. These things need to be maintained. DEC is just making sure that we're keeping track of this information and reporting it back to them on a annual basis. There's a lot of work that's involved behind the scenes, and part of our program, we just have to make it known that there is a report available if anybody wants to look at it. Check it out. That report will be filed with DEC.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And the next item, our annual 2025 Planning Development Report, and are you going to talk about that, or is Josh?
Credit to Josh. He does a wonderful job on this thing. It's an amazing report. And not just in Saratoga County, but in the capital region, people look at this and review it, and they are quite amazed by this report, and they give the town kudos and Josh kudos on such a great report. Town should be very proud of having this report put on the capital region and present to all the municipalities to take a look at it. I just give Josh all the credit for this thing. It's great.
Yeah, I'll say this report that Josh at the end of the table put together, I have not seen a town of our size in this area put together a report that is so comprehensive and clear to the average person. Somebody who doesn't even, isn't tremendously familiar with how this works can pick it up because it's laid out in such a way that it's very accessible, it's very transparent. So, it really empowers citizens in a way that most towns can't. So I want to thank you for everything.
Yeah, I've been reading these kind of reports for a very long time, and it is the most comprehensive and well laid out report I think I've ever seen.
And obviously available online.
Where it's, in fact, even cooler than it is in print.
Right.
Because it's got an interactive ability, which is works nicely, and I even improved it, because I guess a beta version and had a couple of glitches to it, but the online, it's just like seems like a New York Times front page. Click on this map to see some cool stuff.
Yeah. And there is a QR code, I think the sheet's over here somewhere, with a QR code and you can scan it with your phone. It's very easy report.
Okay.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Well done.
And our next item is going to be about the property at 891 Route 9, and they're requesting changing the use in the RB1 zone.
Thanks for your time.
Oh, sorry, Lars.
That's right. Who's Wojcicki?
Thank you.
It's fine.
And you are representing?
I'm representing an entity that would be opening a new business at 891 that would require
which is the Feral Oil, just south of where Corinth Mountain Road crosses Route 9, becomes Ballard Road.
Intersection of that, right? So that building's currently for lease. It's 16,000 square foot between two facilities. It's clear span and 21.5 feet. So it works for our use. If it's allowable, that would be an indoor basketball facility. I have the two entities here to offer any question, answer, discussions. Right now in the residential business district, RB1, there isn't a lot of uses, and this is a use that we would look to add to that in an effort to potentially not just ask for a spot zone. So we would ask for an an indoor recreational use for the building. It does meet parking standards. There would be handicap parking. We feel it would be a good use for the town, and we feel that there's a need for that sort of athletic facility in the area. And I'll invite the gentlemen up if they'd like to elaborate further, any questions you might have as far as next steps and what your suggestion would be with regards to what's the best way to make this an allowable and permitted use.
Awesome. Thanks.
And do you have, can we pull up the?
You just didn't have the
here.
email.
So it's the whole zone here, Route 9, I don't know if people can see, Ballard Road, Corinth Mountain Road, it's right there, but it's this whole blue zone here that also pertains
it's
to
a very large
the
swath
50
of
corner.
that.
There we go.
Yeah, a large swath of road, so.
Didn't even think about it, whole meeting.
I know, all of a sudden, I'm like, it's dark in here.
You would be able to put certain requirements, so that would have to meet a certain criteria as far as acreage and parking and things like that, quite obviously, so not just anybody could do it. but we'd be seeking to do that in an effort to not create more spot zoning, which, as I understand, is something that's, frowned upon to some degree. So that's what we're looking for. We would ask to, what information you would need for a hearing or whatever you want to do to approve that use into the work schedule.
Yeah, thanks. Question, what is the entity?
The entity is the entity I have partners here that would be doing it's an indoor basketball facility. So it'd be very similar to an AFRAMS where you have, like an indoor soccer facility, things like that. There's a need in this local area for indoor basketball facilities. Very helpful by it. And I know you hear that in a lot of different facilities and sporting events, but there's a very specific need in basketball. You guys think they could fill that need, and we feel it'd be a good use. It's accessible to 87. Ballard Road is there. There's main roads. So that's the gist of it.
Awesome.
Basketball, volleyball, pickleball.
It's like many sports.
So, yeah, so it's kind of a multi-use.
So
mostly basketball usage more than volleyball.
Cool.
As well as pickleball.
Great.
So this is the schematic that you provided. So it's one, and this is the existing footprint of the Feral Oil building. So it's one full-size basketball court, and then it looks like
5 training.
5 hoop areas. So you could also then, you're saying, substitute pickleball in that space with the extra lines, multiple lines in the same space?
Correct. Yep. And it would be locker rooms, bathrooms, ADA compliant.
Great. I mean, is there any reason this is not already reflected in zoning? It seems like a desirable thing for a community to have.
No, this has been discussed in the past of having some recreational. I think in some situations it was set up as a PUDD to do this with recreational activities. The use is great. Yeah, there's a demand for it. But the thought was maybe with your zoning and revision committee, take this on to look at this use and all the requirements, setbacks, parking requirements, everything that would go along with an indoor recreational facility. Put that in the zoning committee's hands to say, all right, here's what we need to do. With the zoning revision committee, you can look at certain things like this up front right away.
Right.
There's probably going to be a lot of items you're going to look at.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I'll say the low-hanging fruit.
Sure.
Take this and bring it to the board, and they can move forward with these items, rather than waiting for, the wholesale items of things that you're taking under.
Yeah. Well, Mark?
And just to add to that thought, just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. My belief and understanding is we're not talking about the town board entertaining an application for this specific facility to approve this particular use at this particular location. You're talking about adding an allowed or permitted use in this zone, which would facilitate this, but would be able, anybody who wanted to do that kind of use would be able to apply for it in this particular zone.
Right.
And it's an extensive zone. It's, the whole bit of Route 9 that's left.
And that's why we had asked.
And that Route 50.
It's most preferable for you. If that's not the preferable way and you prefer spots on a specific location, would be as well.
They can spot zone. That would be one thing that's
right. So the in my way of thinking, because this zone is so extensive, along that track of land on Route 9. And I like the idea, Ryan, as you suggested, about the zoning revision committee taking a look at it. But my guess is it's going to be an issue. It's going to take some time. It's going to be rather complex.
Right.
And I don't necessarily have an objection to that use on that particular location. So if the applicant had some sense of urgency, they could come to us with a PUDD application as opposed to waiting to see what transpires over who knows how many months. The committee's deliberations and possible actions, if any. Does that make sense?
That sounds fair.
I agree with that.
We'll look into that with PUDD because there are certain requirements for a commercial application with PUDD. It may take some more requirements than they have available to them. such as water and sewer, things like that, and acreage. We would have to look at the parcel of land and see what is there and what is the most feasible. But with the committee, I think they're meeting next week.
Yeah, on Monday.
This is one of, my suggestions to the committee is to look at the uses in all the zones, because the uses are outdated.
Yeah.
They have not been updated, but maybe this one particular zone could be expedited.
Right.
Some uses, and brought to the board relatively quickly.
Right.
Or perhaps even the creation of a new zone, that would not encompass that entire span of Route 9.
Sure, that could be done too.
And do you see, Ryan, for this kind of indoor sports facility, would it trigger other issues in terms of the volume of people coming in and out and what kind of hours of operation? I assume it would be days, probably into evenings as well.
So that would get into site plan review, the site plan application. The town board would just be approving the use in the zone with the requirements for the site. It would then have to go through site plan review and planning.
Where the decision is made, if a traffic study is needed based on...
All those details will be looked at by the planning.
Could I ask, why would a PUDD carry extra restrictions or requirements, whereas something zoned for a use would not have those requirements?
So in the existing town code, which you guys can change, there are acreage requirements for commercial PUDs. I think it's going to be 5 acres, top of my head. It's 10. 5 to 10 acres. A lot of the PUD requirements for water and sewer. There's a lot of restrictions with the PUD language. So yeah, what it does is prevents shortcutting the code, because then somebody could just come in, I'm doing a PUD on my acre.
Right.
I want to do this.
Right.
And then it kind of forces the hand, not forces the hand, but then it becomes an application issue for the town board constantly seeing these things.
Exactly, right, okay.
And PUDs have to come before the town board, set a public hearing.
Right.
Yada, yada.
Yeah. So there's
I do think that. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, there's just a lot of set requirements for the PUD application. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that particular parcel is ideal for something like this. At the intersection, it's got the highway access, it's well lit. But I agree that it doesn't fit in the zoning as of right now. But I do think we have to be careful adding it into the RV1, that we don't open the door for that whole RV1 of Route 9 to now be built out this way.
4 miles of basketball courts.
Barclays Center.
Right, because you also
I'll tell you with the height requirements for the roof, there's not a lot of buildings that are going to be.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to take into consideration not just Route 9, there's a lengthy stretch that's been converted to RB1, used to have CR2 in there as well, but there's also Route 50 Jones Road area, which is RB1 as well. So
right.
Those are things that the Zoning Revision Committee would take into consideration.
Right.
With thoughtfulness. And like Ray suggested, maybe the Ballard Grove Route 9 area is a separate zone. It used to be a hamlet zone years ago. That didn't seem to come to fruition, so it was just changed to RB1.
Mm-hmm. And what is your timeline for this project, like in an ideal world?
Obviously, for us, we're seeking urgency to some degree in order to kind of fix it or flush it, so to speak. So what we're seeking from you is
and especially as being that it's a lease, not, like a construction project.
Right.
In order for us to move forward and secure the property, we would at least need to have at least what we believe to be the clearest path for us to get there in the shortest amount of time. So that's really why we're here, to ask your opinion for the best way to do it. I knew coming in, this is a large zoning code, so to add something to go that big could create a problem. I understand that in rural residential and in some of these business codes, they're usually, most townships are large swaths of lodging and different things that are kind of in those zones. in this particular town, it's not in there. But like we said, I think you guys seem to be in agreement with us that it would be a great use. So like I said, we're just seeking what would be the best way to get there as quickly as possible.
Right.
How to do that.
So your plan is not to purchase the property, but to lease it?
Lease the property long-term, bid it out, yes.
You know, I wonder, and I agree completely, like, this is a clear zoning revision thing, there are lots of considerations. And this is a conversation that you know a lot more about than probably anybody as an engineer. As we're rewriting the code, you know, because I think this would be a good opportunity for the town. There's a lot of, it's very desirable for residents. It's like a win-win. It sounds like, and of course the devil's in the details, who knows? But if there is a, you know, it's gonna be a multi-month, at least, process to get to usable, comprehensive language, that would come at a large opportunity cost should the time not be on a timeline that works for someone trying to lease a structure. You know, there are commercial considerations there.
Well, there's alternatives.
Well, that's sort of what, yeah.
But what about doing a more limited look at a portion of that zone? Because that's pretty undeveloped, that's actually very undeveloped, but the eastern part of it, it's all down a slope, and the eastern part of it is pretty wet. So to consider looking at it as a sort of a limited addition of this usage to just a portion of that zone to sort of get it.
I mean, you create a new zone.
I mean, that would be,
right. Creating a new zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're still zoning revision committee, even if they came back next month with, you know, some changes, the town board still has to set a public hearing. Right. So, you know, you're May at the earliest with the town board, then it's site plan review with the planning board as well. Are very knowledgeable attorneys who've been through many years of this. I'll let him explain it, but a use variance, which is another avenue, it's hard to seek one with a use variance, but he has a lot more experience than I do with that. The process and procedures for use variance through the zoning board.
And I do have a lot of example. What's your question?
That's just another avenue, but my understanding of the use variance is 99% chance of failure.
That's my understanding as well. The town has not typically entertained a lot of variances. So variance for anybody else is if it's something that's not used and you're asking to use it. For example, when you're in RR1, if you know Weibel Avenue in Saratoga where Stewart's is and the ice rinks, that's all rural residential zoning. They have variances to have a Stewart's there, to have a dentist there. Typically, townships are not in the business of doing that. I think this would maybe meet one of those requirements, or maybe it would be the 1% because it seems like it would make sense in that area to do so. That would certainly be the shortest path for us, but it really comes down to the appetite of the town itself.
Well, the appetite of the zoning board of appeals.
Right.
And it seems like a very straightforward request of the ZBA that it's...
I would suggest not.
No, okay.
Because in order to get the use variance from the zoning board of appeals, the applicant has a very high hurdles to clear, the highest of them being that the property cannot yield a reasonable economic return for any current use or any permitted use. That's a very high hurdle.
Oh, okay.
What is the current use?
Vacant?
Well, it was an oil company.
But empty now.
Big storage, it's a warehouse.
Yeah.
When was the last time it was leased?
It's owned by Feral Oil. It was an industrial use.
Yeah.
And basically, the industrial use does sit into the RB1 zoning. And that would be a concern for the seller to make sure that that zoning would still be allowable, let's say, 20 years from now, because I think that also fits in that corridor as industrial use.
I mean, do we know when the building was last leased?
I believe it's been vacant for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And there's no question of an environmental impact on the site?
Not to my knowledge, no.
There were no underground storage tanks?
Not to my knowledge. I don't represent the owner of the building.
Sure.
That's not to my knowledge.
Ray, what were you saying?
We wouldn't be digging, we wouldn't be doing anything, we'd be working within a current structure, so we'd be staying within the clear span building that it is, so we would actually have no outdoor component other than the parking complex.
And how big is the site, do you know?
Yeah, it's a 4-acre site. It's 2 buildings that are, they total 14,000 square feet in space. I can give you a little more information here quickly too. And I can submit an email to you guys, some of the other pieces to it, but basically, it was built in 1995. It's a 200 amp. It's not septic. It's on a well. The building size is 14,040 square feet. It has a section of 10,000 square feet. I have 2 grade level 12 and 14 overhead doors in the rear. And the other section is a 4,000 square foot building. So it's a 10 and then a 4,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
With 12-foot ceiling height there with an overhead door at 10.
Got it.
There's 800 feet of office space that would be converted in this situation to bathrooms and lockers.
Ray, you trying to talk?
Yeah, so there's basically 3 avenues, as I understand it. Either a use variance, a PUDD, or let the zoning revision committee undertake its deliberations next week and see where that goes. But I don't see that there's any action for us to take this evening.
I agree. Okay.
And it'll be up to the applicant as to whether or not, while the zoning revision committee deliberates, to see if either a PUDD or a use variance is a viable option.
Okay.
So,
I hope that was clarifying.
I think for us, what you're saying is that we need to make a decision with the zoning board of appeals, and as stated by Mark, it might not be the best option. PUD is obviously going to be a longer road than that. I think they're both going to be, I think all roads are a little bit more extensive than, than we thought. But again, I think for us, we need to explore which way to go with you guys, right?
I mean, it sounds like it's something that the town board is, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but it sounds like it's a viable project that would be beneficial to the community. So we would, I think we would want to help you see this to fruition, and maybe Connor, you can look at that at your first meeting and get a sense of what it would take to have that as one of your sort of top of the docket task, and sort of think about it and maybe stay in touch with these guys to let them know that you think it's something you can get done over 2 meetings, 2 months, or if it's something that's going to stretch out longer to kind of...
Right.
Okay, I would just suggest from the Pandora's box concern of, what comes after that. We've been looking for a really long time for something that fits everything we need to put this facility together. So I don't see a scenario where all of a sudden you have 10 other people doing what we're doing, because it was that easy a couple of years ago. So
right.
It took us a long time to locate this one, and it'll take us a long time to locate the next one. So I don't think that concern of all of a sudden these are going to be popping up everywhere is too scary.
So do you have multiple sports venues like this?
No, this will be our first.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, thanks so much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item was brought to our attention by somebody making public comment earlier. It's the condition of North Road. Do you want me to start, Mike, or do you want... Thank you. North Road is the extension of Traver Road after you cross Ballard Road, and it's a road that's not very long. It's maybe 1.25 miles, something like that. It goes past what's being built is the new Bosse's, and the arrangement has been made that the new Bosse's is going to redo that whole portion of the road from Ballard to the far end of their property, but the town was not able to put their thumbs in the screws anymore and get them to agree to do further, even though the town wanted that, because it's the section after that that's really in really bad shape. And the road apparently was not built properly, so it's built on a clay subsurface that holds water, does lots of heaving and everything else, and it's been resurfaced multiple times over the years, and correct me if I'm using the wrong language, and those are very temporary fixes. And the road condition is really bad. There's huge potholes, and you drive it in a stiff suspension vehicle, and it's really bad. But then there's these mounded up heaps in the middle of the one lane that are probably for 20 feet, and each one, it rises up, I think, did the person, if she's still here, 8 inches high. So if a big truck is coming on the other side and then you're in that lane and that heap is in the middle of your lane, and it's going to rip out your undercarriage unless you have a huge pickup truck. So you're going to, be dodging off the road, and you can't just shave off the top of those humps, and you can't really do anything. It's still too cold. So the question is now, it seems that the only option, what's being brought before the town board, is should we close this road as a driving hazard, at least the portion that's currently at question, which still would allow the construction to continue at the BOCES facility. It would still allow the Target people to come in, and it would be closed from the bottom of the hill where the Snook Hill is and the fishing spot parking lot back up the hill to the edge of the BOCES property.
So when I'm asking the town board, I'd like to say that I had a little magic wand and we could wave it and fix North Road. But North Road is beyond repair that the highway can fix. You're talking filled up reclamation of 2 foot of material that has to come out of it. So I'm asking the town board to go out to bid, on a 2-week bid, to reconstruct North Road and get it fixed once and for all. There's nothing we can do to make it better other than a filled up reconstruction.
So there's 2 separate questions here. The first one is, what do we do right now for the public in terms of, do we close this road?
If we don't come into an agreement to do something with it and I'm put on notice with it, then I will have to close the road.
I think where is her letter? I think you've been put on notice.
Mike, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't catch the first lady that spoke, the Lake George superintendent, who's also working on the traffic with the BOCES build-out. With the impact on the transportation and the school buses, is this something where we can get the state involved?
Not
with the amount of impact?
This is a town road. It's our responsibility to maintain it.
No. And what would it...
I just wasn't sure if there was an avenue or not.
Is it, I'm sorry, can I add, is it not true that originally when they proposed that warehouse, they were going to close that road, but they were required to reroute the road because of the need, and it was apparently rerouted at very low cost. But is there some reason now to abandon that road when it was found to be a need at the time it was rerouted?
But when
it would be dangerous to abandon North Road.
I'm not, by the word of, sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
It's the only other means of egress for Target and for BOCES. If there's ever an incident at that intersection, they would all be literally just trapped at that site. I don't think that if we need to temporarily close North Road, I understand that, but I do think we have to come up with a solution for fixing it and getting it reopened. I think it's too important.
Right, so in my use of the word close, I should have been more specific and say temporarily closed until it can be addressed, because nothing can be done right now. The earliest would be, let's say, a month from now. It's somewhat weather dependent. And even at that point, there's several options of how the town could address what would need to be done, or what our options are. Could you outline them, Mike?
So as highway superintendent, I'm recommending full 2-foot reclamation of the road, and that the town board go out to bid to solicit contractors to accomplish that task. And if we don't come up to an agreement or path moving forward of what to do, then I will have to close the road and deem it impassable. So if we're going to go out to bid on a 2-week bid and retain a contractor and fulfill the contract, we can post it more than we already have now to use caution.
Pass at your own risk?
Yeah, well, I'd like to say that, but we can't say that. But my course of action that we are responding to a notice of claim is that we're going out to bid. I can't control the weather, it's beyond my control, the frost that's in the ground, but we have a plan in action. And as soon as the weather breaks, this is what we're going to do. But if we don't come up with a course of action to take, then I would have to close the road.
Could I ask, what is the cost associated with that, if we were to do it right?
Ballpark figure, I would figure at least $1.5 million.
So it's $1.5 million. Do we know what percentage of use that road, I mean, we probably don't. What percentage of use that road gets from Target
So I
workforce?
can give you some history on it as well before my time, but when Target came into the town board abandoned North Road. The residents in the north part of town 30 years ago filled the town hall with a petition at a town board meeting, and it was decided that Target was going to build the road and put it in. The highway superintendent did not sign off on the build of the road. It was the prior board and engineer that signed off on the road. We had documentation from the early 2000s that the sub-base material under that road does not meet New York State DOT Item 4 specification, that it's clay soil, it will hold the water, and it needs to come out.
Right. So do we know how much of that traffic is from that commercial use today?
No.
I'm at, what like?
The Target warehouse?
The Target warehouse.
The tractor trailers, yeah.
No, well,
it's passenger vehicles only, really.
it's really passenger vehicles only, and there aren't really many passenger vehicles going to the warehouse. It's mostly people coming in and out on the tractor trailers. People don't drive to work and then access a tractor trailer that's stored there.
There might be some employees.
Right.
Shift change.
Right, shift change. And so I imagine that if we close that road and if we ask Target nicely, hey, your employees use this road quite a bit, and well, listen, and then they say no, and then we close the road, and we tell the employees, hey, we closed the road because you guys promised to pay for this, maybe don't say 20 years ago, and did a little bit of, sent some letters. Is it possible that we could, use the employees to have a little leverage over the corporation?
Yeah, I think whatever few employees go to work down North Road, that may be located in the north part of our town, Monroe, that, going down to, Northern Pines Road and then going down Ballard, maybe adds a couple of minutes, to their commute. So I don't know if that would be particularly effective. I'd be inclined to put the project out to bid, and maybe, particularly about a company like D.A. Collins that does this kind of work, and, they're 2 minutes down the road, maybe we get a particularly competitive bid, and express the urgency of getting this done, and if it gets done, under, what we think it might cost, and, and get it done efficiently. If it does come in, exorbitantly expensive, we always have the flexibility to, reject the bids.
And to put it out to bid, would one option be to reach out to the firm that's going to be doing the first part of the road that the BOCES project is going to do, and ask them if they did it as an add-on, can they create a bid for that add-on? Is that a legitimate?
So to Ryan's point, it's true, there's open competitive bidding that we have to adhere to. So with the procurement process, we will certainly have almost like a random call for vendors to come and bid on this project. Now, obviously, any bidder who is worth their weight would say, hey, we're already going to be there, we can still do that work. Another bidder could say, we're 2 minutes down the road, we can do that work. It creates competition, which is what we want.
Right.
Good point.
I mean, we did with issues here. Those first bids we got, we didn't find acceptable. We went back out and we found something that worked.
Yeah, I have no issue putting in a bid. Like, I want to have firm numbers, you know, because there's also a calculation there of, okay, what is the traffic on this road? We have a lot of things that we need to spend money on, I imagine, limited funds, and is it the best use of dollar for dollar considering use of the road? But we need those figures first.
I mean, another option, Mike, that you mentioned to me in conversation is to kind of scrape off whatever in your
Go back in time and make it a dirt road.
Dirt/gravel road, which...
If I'm from the board to do it, I can close the road, seek council support, and we'll make it a seasonal road. There's no law that says it has to be a blacktop road.
Gravel.
That's what the board wants to entertain.
I mean, it sort of...
Is it gravel road?
Yep.
Because of horses too. I feel... I was just gonna say, I feel comfortable going out to bid.
And I just wanted to say one more thing, and you can't do this job in-house because you don't have the equipment to scrape down 2 feet down, and so it's completely, has to go out for bid.
And remember, that all bids can be rejected.
So, I concur with Connor. I'd like to see some bids, get some real tangible numbers for us to look at before we decide if we repave it, if we make it a dirt road. I think it'll give us, at no cost, it'll give us a clearer picture.
Right.
Yeah.
Would this be an attractive project for a bidder?
Sure.
I mean, it's
work.
Sure.
And you just close the road during construction?
We would have to close the road during construction for that, yeah. You're talking 2-foot material has to come out in clay, yeah.
And there's one homeowner at the Wilton Gansford end.
We would have to make accommodations to get...
But that's the only one, is that correct? And it's very close to the intersection.
Full to depth really only has to go to the creek. The other side, the highway, we ground ourselves probably 20 years ago. So the stuff based in there is not the issue. It's from Bosse's to the creek.
Right.
Ryan, one other thing, the old dump is there, is in that same stretch between Bosse's and the creek, and that requires annual monitoring.
Yeah, that's just...
But that time frame would not, if it goes out to bid and the road gets closed for certain, that's not going to affect that process.
No.
Will we get the information that Connor had made the point before about use of the road?
Yeah.
Determine the priority level to determine whether it's you're getting the bang for the buck.
Right. If it's efficient use of funds. Do we have...
So the issue with that is that at the end of the day, it's still a town road. Legally, we're responsible for it.
Right, but it's going to...
5 cars go over it or 100 cars go over it, correct me if I'm wrong, council. Once we're putting a notice on it and there's an incident, or a school bus goes over it, and God forbid there's an incident, we're on the hook for it.
Right, but the efficiency still matters in terms of whether we make it a dirt road or we make it, or we do the 2 feet.
Is it currently used by school buses?
And that right this minute, I don't know
Yeah.
if they're smart or not.
Right.
Behind you shaking his
That'd be
head.
crazy.
Have you traveled the road? I encourage all board members to travel the road.
Yeah, we traveled it. We traveled it.
My teeth have stopped.
I'd like to make a motion to go out to bid on reconstructing North Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye. Aaron, was that a yes from you too? She did. Yep, okay, all right. No opposed, motion passes. Okay, the next item, Mike, do you want to just announce Adirondack Brine Tank? Okay, all right.
Dear members of the town board, on behalf of 80K Action, I am pleased to provide this letter confirming that the town of Wilton, a participating member of the Clean Water Safe Roads Network, has received grant funding for 80K Action from 88K Action for the purchase of a 3,000-gallon brine storage tank. This equipment was funded through 80K Action's Clean Water Safe Roads initiative, which supports highway departments and roadway managers in implementing best management practices to reduce road salt and protect water quality. The total value of the brine storage tank, inclusive of purchase and shipping, was $4,674.78. The purchase and shipment of the tank were verified by WIT Advisors in accordance with 80K Action's grant administration requirements. We commend the town of Wilton for its ongoing commitment to responsible winter road management and the protection of local water resources. Should you require any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact our office.
So we now are the proud owners of 2 brine tanks.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, how does that?
Congratulations, Mike.
Great job, yes.
Great job.
How does that happen? Do we spend the money and they get reimbursed?
They already bought it and delivered it.
So it's already purchased?
Yep.
It's here.
So then how do we get the money?
They
paid for it.
They got a grant.
They paid for it and bought it.
Very good. I just want to be clear.
Yes, no, we don't.
We get the brine tank and the money?
Like your birthday.
Cut that check.
They put a nice bow on it, 2 mics?
Right. Yeah, great.
Up to the city. Yeah, she wants snooze. Yeah.
I think we're on a roll here with grants for the highway department. See who would come up with $1 million on North Road.
I said, if I had a magic wand there, Ray, well, unfortunately, there's nothing I'm aware of any grants to help us out on that.
I don't even know why they ended up down there.
All right, to move on, I'm going to move the order of items a little bit, and I want to move item 22, an announcement about the Klepetar Conservation Easement as our next item, so the Klepetars don't have to sit here through all the rest of deliberation. And the snow, as it's apparently heavily snowing outside.
Oh, good.
So it's really at their behest that this is not a more formal proclamation, big brouhaha, but I wanted to make an announcement and just point out that our own Wilton residents, the Klepetars, have created a conservation easement of 444 acres of property up on the Palmerton Ridge in conjunction with Saratoga Plan. Everything is completed. However, there are no trails at this point on the property, and as part of a conservation easement, it still belongs to the Klepetar family, but there are a host of restrictions placed on the land regarding development and what can go on there. But and I think it's been their hope always that maybe seeing, and I think part of making announcements and making these things public is that perhaps it will encourage other people who are either in possession of land or in any kind of similar position to consider.
Does plan go in and create the trails so people aren't just wandering all over?
Oh, yeah, it'll be worked with plan, right, Joanne? But that's sort of still a future thing. But the land is now conserved and thank you very much.
They're the best.
For a wonderful.
Incredible.
That's a lot of acreage.
That is a lot of acreage.
So, all right, the next item is committee reports. Start out, Connor, just report on code and zoning revision.
Yep, I went through all the applications, I interviewed everybody, it was unbelievable. Again, like Ray said, so many talented people, embarrassment of riches. I wish I could make it a 15-person committee, wouldn't be very efficient, but maybe we'd need that with all we have to do. I would like to officially nominate the following people to be on the committee. It's myself, Jim Deloria, Laura Lorenko, Chris Ramsdell, John Hurley, Ryan Riper, Megan Brennanstool, Doug Logan, Matt Reels, Eric Coughlin, and Debbie Shive. On the motion.
I move we appoint those people to the new zoning code and zoning revision committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Council Shackner, did we even need to make a motion about this?
Oh,
No,
I was told we did, but if we don't, we don't.
He's on a roll, so.
I was told we needed to do it.
Okay, and you'll be meeting the first Monday of every month, first meeting next week, sorry, second
Monday of
meeting,
every
right,
month.
at 6:30 PM here in Town Hall.
Yes.
So, thank you for all your efforts and your work at, how many applications did you have?
Like 20 or so.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Next item, Aaron, if you want to report Gavin Park and Rec Commission, please.
Sure, thank you. And I don't know if Mark and Maria are still there.
They are.
I want to thank you. I want to thank Mark for getting up during the public comment period and with his detailed information from the work we've been doing on the commission. It's a great group of people. I've been to 2 of the meetings. We meet the first Monday of the month. Very enthusiastic group. Mark recommended that the committee of 9 divide up maybe into subcommittees. We found that some of the biggest projects that we're kind of looking at is the Veterans Walk with the flags around Gavin Park, the website, and trying to make it more interactive. Josh, I shared your information regarding the trails. We do want to try to publicize more of our trail information. So maybe at the playground, a QR code, like looking for something else to do, and they can scan it, and then our trails come up. And again, like the age appropriateness, but when people are looking for things to do with their families. The third subcommittee is the master plan, and the fourth is looking at other areas in town where we have property that may be available for pocket parks. I would like to get the board to approve to move forward on the master plan. I don't think without the master plan we can do any of these objectives. I think we need to make sure we're doing it right versus piecemeal. When we look at the aerial map of Gavin Park, we have to remember that everything beyond the tree line is the school district. So as much as it looks like we have space available, we're pretty restricted. We have Stairs to the Wilton Soccer that's possibly looking to put up a facility in there. We've got pickleball courts going in. We've talked about maybe putting lighting on those so that they can operate later into the evening, just similar to like Eastside Rec. But I think the master plan is our starting point. And I know that there's probably some other details that were not listed out in the master plan that was provided to all of us. But to Ryan's point in his email today, we can always do an addendum to add on additional items. And then the second thing is the committee or the commission did suspend their trails meetings. I guess they've been holding once or twice a year. But if Steve Federian is still in the audience, I did, on the commission, was still interested in working on the trails, that they could reach out to you. And maybe get some information from you or even join your committee.
He said yes. I don't know if you heard him.
Okay, great. I will reiterate that in a wrap-up email tomorrow.
So I think...
Yeah, I'm just explaining to them, Steve, how we talked last time. If you want to bring that multi-use path into Gavin Park, and we've got the veterans flags going along with it, I think it would be really great that your committee and the commission, or even a member of the commission, sat on yours, so that we could make sure we do that right the first time.
I agree.
Any questions?
So, Ryan, is there, Doug Heller, hello, you're from the LA group.
Oh.
Hey, Doug.
Thank you for coming at such last minute short notice.
He just lives around the corner.
Yes, yeah.
And he sat through the whole meeting.
Can you outline Now, this proposal that you guys would do for this master plan has a price tag on it. So I wanted to make sure that it's available for the board discussion. Can you just go through very quickly? There were, 7 phases in it and sort of...
Yeah, definitely. So just kind of going back, as it was mentioned, my firm, the LA Group, we worked on the master plan back in 2005. And one of the really...
That was the last one, 20 years ago.
Yeah, and what's really cool is a lot of the aspects that we had in that master plan have been implemented in those locations. You know, like the spray park was kind of put there. Now we're starting to kind of get beyond. There's been a lot of changes in the town of Wilton, a lot of growth in the past 20 years. A lot of changes in different interests in sports and things like that. So the main thing that we're looking to do is basically kind of first understand what do the people want. So I know there's been some surveys that are going out to the town. Is there more need or want for more soccer, more baseball? What size baseball? What size softball? So once we kind of understand that, then starting to play with, we do have a kind of very defined area. Like Aaron said, it isn't a very large property right there, so seeing how we can basically locate all these things and what we can get on the site and reconfigure some things, understanding that there is a lot of want there. You know, there are some things that we did not include in our current scope that we did do back in 2005. One of the things that we did do back in 2005 was we did have kind of a public comment period where at Gavin Park, we invited people in there, we had some boards, we kind of sat there and talked with them, hey, this is what we want, have them even put little stickies on a board of, hey, we want, you know, hey, more tennis courts here, or we want more pickleball, even though I understand pickleball is going in right now. So that is something that we can definitely offer that's not in our current scope, but in our scope is basically kind of creating a new master plan, laying out and kind of trying to set the town up for the future. So maybe the next project is a new baseball field. Where should it go? What size should it be? What are the approximate costs associated with that?
And we have a vehicle for, I think, a very robust questionnaire. Was it October of this past year? The first town newsletter was mailed out to all homes in the town, and I've been planning on doing a spring version of that as well, so we can include, because if you just post it on your website, you're missing huge swaths of the population. So a mailer, and to have a specific item there be a questionnaire about Gavin Park and about what people want would be perfect timing, I think, for that. And another issue, Ryan, that you brought up in your email that you and I had talked about was, and I'm thinking from what Ryan said, you guys responded, what would be important for me, if you're calling something a master plan and it hasn't been done in 20 years, I think it's very important to have an idea of what is the population looking forward as we're planning ahead, because this plan is going to serve us for the next 10, 15 years. So to have some sort of look at what are population projections, because a lot of the undeveloped land left in Wilton is actually in the South Glens Falls School District that has higher school tax rate. And is that, you know, can we project the same rate of development that we've been having all along, shifting it to a different school district that maybe is less desirable for that reason? It's also, you know, further away, it's off the Route 9 corridor, and to get that kind of additional look at population dynamics and what can we expect in the next 5, 10, 15 years in terms of school-age kids, and, you know, what portion might be South Glens Falls schools, Saratoga schools, et cetera, that you can come up with, that you'd be able to add that in as well.
Yeah, I think that's weaving that information into the plan, you know, is a good idea. I sat on a committee for the Saratoga Springs School District recently, looking at their long-term planning facilities, which included everything from, you know, sports programming to academics, school safety, and that sort of thing. And so I know they have very current information about the entire student body, their trends, their if I remember correctly from one of our meetings, there are 1,000 fewer students in the Saratoga Springs School District than there were 10 years ago, which surprised me on that committee, given where development has gone. But I think a lot of the development has involved empty nesters, smaller families, people just relocating, within our region, within the school district. But yeah, blending all that information ultimately into the final product, I think is a good idea, Tony.
So that leaves us at this point, Aaron, and Ryan, maybe help me out. So we are going to we're asking you to sort of fill out your idea of this master plan a little bit more beyond what you guys talked about and what you've already proposed to Parks and Rec and Aaron and brought to them. And then we'll have a public hearing at the next meeting about, or help me out here, somebody, sorry.
What the board could do tonight is award LA Group, based on the proposal that they've already submitted for the initial work to get started. And then, they can look at the additional scope of work and provide an addendum to the proposal. And then next meeting, you can look at the proposal, the addendum, and, so choose to move forward with that as well. So they basically can move forward with the original scope and get this started, because, we're in March here, if you want something, this year.
Can you give us, given the additional things we've talked about, give us an idea of a time frame when you would have a finished product?
Wow.
Good luck.
It's a little hot here.
I mean, are we talking 2 months? Are we talking 5 months?
Yeah, probably closer to 5 months. Because what it's going to come down to is kind of the first step is we start to gather some of the information, especially if we want to start to get the public involved and things like that, which I think is a great idea. It's not something I think we should rush into. There's a lot of people that have a lot of ideas for this thing. So we want to make sure we get the thorough input of everyone on that before we kind of push out this master plan. So at least on my end, I prefer not to rush it and say, okay, we're going to have a master plan in 2 months. Let's do this right so this master plan will last decades, just like the last one did.
And to that point, I just want to make sure everybody knows that Ross and his staff were at the meeting, the initial meeting with LA Group, and they will continue to be involved in all of our meetings.
Ross being the director at Gavin Park. And your initial, for your original proposal for the master plan had a price tag attached to it of $15,000. Okay, just so the audience kind of has an understanding.
Forward awarding the contract proposal to LA Group tonight, probably should also move some money aside as well, which could come out of the Parks and Rec supplied by the developers.
Right. And is Aaron, is that your recommendation?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I need to make a motion?
Yes, go ahead, make a motion.
Make a motion to move forward on the master plan for Gavin Park.
I'll second Aaron's motion on the original proposal with an amendment to come.
To award the contract. That one we're doing, yes.
And again, this does not need to go out to bid because it is a professional services. All right, so we have a second motion?
Yep.
And okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron. Good
Thank you,
work.
Aaron.
And thanks the
Thank you, Mark.
Commission.
And the Parks and Rec Commission.
I look forward to next month's meeting and reporting.
Okay, Aaron, oh, sorry, Ray, were you going to say something?
I'm sorry, I was going to say before, is Doug already gone?
No, he's here. Lives here now.
If you'll pardon me, before he goes, just a quick committee report on our fishing station. The real serious installation work has been initiated. And, if the weather and everything else cooperates, we're looking at getting, the actual dock and everything squared away, hopefully by the end of this month, early April. And then the, pathways or trails that would go down to the fishing station, chatting with Mike Monroe earlier, we have to wait until the ground dries out and, weather conditions and all. So hopefully maybe in May, June the latest, we can get that work done and get folks in there using our fishing station.
And
if you want to comment, from the LA group point of view on that.
Yeah, no, just, it's real exciting. It's going to move really quick here in the next month. So actually this weekend, you're going to start to see some equipment being put out there besides just excavators. I'm talking about the actual platform itself. So next week, they're going to start drilling the helical piles. And then after that, it's then going to actually be the fabrication and the installation of the platform itself. So it's going to go real quickly here. I know if you've driven by Northern Pines, which I do every day, it seems like excavators have been sitting there for a few weeks, but now all of a sudden it's going to go real quick here. So it's very exciting.
Wonderful.
And the snook kill is stocked.
Yes.
Correct. So.
It's exciting.
I have to buy a fishing pole.
That's something I'd like to start doing, actually.
All right.
And for down the road, once this project is done and there's lots of activity there, we may have reason to go back and ask for another speed reduction on Northern Pines Road, just saying.
Right.
3 years. Fish drive really fast.
Yeah.
All right. Erin, next report on the senior center, please.
Sure, I'll make this one quick. My suggestion is we reopen the senior center on Monday. The usual operating hours, Monday and Tuesday from 10 to 2. Scott, I want to thank Nancy for talking this through the last couple weeks with me and Serena, who's their board president. Scott has offered to unlock and lock the building up. It's something that the town staff can do without an issue. Just to quote Serena, we're all adults. They think they'll be just fine going in on their own. Robin did bake them lunch. She went above and beyond the scope of her job. Serena said that they would be fine knowing that they bring their own lunch. Perhaps we have Walmart deliver some deli meats so they can make sandwiches, or they can order and have lunch delivered. But they really do miss seeing each other, the social aspect, and playing cards.
Yeah.
So they would like to try to get it open as soon as they can, and then we can kind of maybe take the next month to see how that goes, and whether we do need to hire a part-time town employee to be in there or not.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion to reopen, or are we good?
I don't think you need a motion.
Okay.
But that's,
It was just.
Scott, take it over to yours,
Yeah.
Right.
He's going to start.
Aaron, you're suggesting just Monday?
Peanut butter.
One day a week?
Monday and Tuesdays.
They're Monday
and Tuesday.
We're gonna
So go back to the regular.
Reopen our normal days, normal hours, see how it goes, and then possibly, they would like to go another day or 2 a week. Nancy did bring up, court is also open on Tuesdays. There have been incidences where they've walked into the wrong building, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'd like to get it reopened, get them all back in there, and see how the next month goes.
Love it.
All right, great. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Okay, Safety Committee report. Connor.
Great.
You are the liaison there.
Yes, the Safety Committee is working with the Sheriff's Department to set up community response to active shooter event training. Captain Shields is working with Nancy in order to schedule that.
Oh, just 1 second, just to back up. The Safety Committee deals with safety issues within the town complex, basically for the town employees, so it's not an outside looking at safety within the community.
Right.
Will this also include Gavin Park? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Nancy's also been working with Fred Fowler from Wilton EMS on CPR AED training and the first aid course. Is trying to fit in the Stop the Bleed course at the same time. Trying to schedule that. It's about 3 hours. And it is up to us to determine whether or not we want the community response to active shooter event training to be mandatory or voluntary. Nancy's position is that it should be mandatory. I think there's a lot of credence to that. It's something that, especially, just given the social environment right now, I think it would be probably wise to make mandatory.
I think you can't have a evidence-based response to an active shooter and you have two people going rogue on you because they decided they didn't want to go to the training, so don't believe in whatever the training says, whether it's barricade yourself in your office, put your desks against, whatever.
I wouldn't know what to do.
Right, so I think because it's a thing that affects the entire building or set of buildings, that I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have the court right here, it's just probably best practice.
Yeah. So do we need any kind of motion to make?
No? Okay.
To make that kind of training mandatory? Active shooter training?
Let's put it in motion anyway.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it's required, but if you want to make it mandatory, put it in motion.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to make that mandatory training.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Great, thank you. Was there anything about
Swimming?
Swimming? No. What? I know, it looks like I'm playing charades, sorry.
It's too cold.
Diffusing, de-escalation training.
That's what she's working with the sheriff's department.
That's in progress.
Yes.
They're talking about.
All right, well, I'm not aware of it.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that was the other thing, because especially, winter plow drivers that come into a lot of contact with people who are upset about how the snow blocks their driveway, and I think any public-facing organization, people need to get some training in how to.
Yeah, if that work stream is in progress, I'll shoot Nancy an email tomorrow, because I'm not aware of what's.
Okay, great. Thank you, and now we move to comptroller's report.
Okay, so our first category is the 2026 budget transfers. The first item there regards the purchase of a copier for the court building, specifically for the location at the judge's bench. There are nights and weekends when there are arraignments that require copies to be made, and the justices now would have to leave the actual courtroom where the arraignment is occurring and walk into the business office section of the building, leaving the people there, which it's not a big deal. It's not just convenience, though. It's a matter of timing and efficiency. Like I said, middle of the night, weekend, people want to get the business done. So we priced out with a state contract vendor that we use, which is Electronic Office Products, excuse me. And we had two proposals. This happens to be the more expensive copier. The other one came in at approximately $4,900, which is not a huge difference, but the per copy cost, which covers maintenance on this a little bit more expensive product, was much lower than the cheaper copier. So I think over the long haul, purchasing the more expensive copier will produce a better rate of return in the future. So that was item 1. And item 2 under our first category is for a memorial bench to be purchased. Our historian wants to honor Jeannie Waters, who was a former historian for the town of Wilton, who had passed away a couple of years ago. Very active member of the community. She's the author of a book with Wilton history. And Katie Coombs, who is our current historian, wanted to honor Jeannie with this bench. The location of the bench is probably not something that we would install during the winter months that we're in now, but it would be right outside the senior building, kind of facing the parking lot was what I was told. And again, the primary reason for the purchase would be to honor the former historian. I'm not sure.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I agree.
Very nice.
Yeah, worked with Jeannie for years, extraordinary person.
Okay, so that's category 1, our budget transfers.
Okay, so request a motion to approve these budget transfers.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Unanimously passes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Second category is our 2026 budget amendments, and we have a position that was filled in December. It was an MEO position filled in December, utilizing the 2025 salary schedule. The base rate for the MEO coming on board was $25.91. Fast forward into 1 month later, 2026, we elevated the base rates to keep up with rates of inflation and such, and so the MEO base rate for 2026 is a little bit higher at $28 an hour. So Mike Monroe, the highway superintendent, had suggested that perhaps that position can be funded at the new 2026 base rate, even though the person was hired in 2025. So, because it was only a month difference. So, in order to do that, I would like to increase budget for both road maintenance and snow removal because the salary is split between the two pieces. So that is items 1 and 2 for category 2. And in order to do that, and I hate doing this, but it's such a minimal amount of money that I think we'd be okay to increase our projection for sales tax revenue to fund the increase in the expenditure. I do have now a new third item under this category that I kind of just found out about because I was on vacation. It's the LA Group cost of the proposal for the master plan for the park at $15,000, and we have a couple of different avenues that we could use to leverage the park reserve money that we have, which is one way we can do this. It will require a 30-day resolution, a resolution to be able to use that money. However, we have to advertise for a period of 30 days to get any feedback from the public, if any, and then we can use that money for this purpose. The other thing is, which is good news, we sold the senior van. The auction concluded today. We sold the van for over $20,000, $20,700 to be exact. So that is a quicker way, and because it's such a small amount, well, not small, but because it's it's not a major purchase, it's $15,000, I think maybe we can just get this done by saying I'm going to use the revenue that we're going to get from Auctions International, from where we sold the van, to pay for this new expense that we have. So that's the route that I would go. I'm sure the master plan will provide us with plenty of ways to spend that park reserve fee, so I'm not worried about that.
Surprise!
Yes.
Right.
So those are the 3 items under this.
Oh my gosh.
Could we also fund?
Thank you, Maria.
Yes, of course.
Could we also fund the road maintenance, snow removal salaries with that van purchase rather than changing a projection of sales tax?
We could. So if we did the $15,000, we would have approximately $5,700 left. You could absolutely do that, yes. Okay. Well, that would require, however, a transfer. It just complicates things a little bit.
Okay.
Because the money from the sale of the car is coming from the general fund, so the general fund would have to transfer the money to the highway fund. So we could.
That makes sense. I'm just, it doesn't sit quite right with me to fund, accounts payable with like a sales tax change or sales tax projection change. Is that common practice?
It could be in times of as we get closer to the end of the year, where we land, yes. I don't like doing it in the beginning of the year, so I am happy to do it another way. It requires a transfer from the general fund to the highway fund.
I think that makes more sense.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that? Okay.
Because I used sales tax before I knew that we had this other expense.
Okay, great.
So,
Yeah. Let's do that.
okay, so instead of leveraging sales tax in category 2, we'll use the sale of equipment, and we'll transfer the money from the general fund to the highway fund. And in addition to that, we'll also have the third item, which is funding the master plan for the park.
Awesome.
Okay, so you'll have a final tomorrow?
Yes,
Thank
tomorrow
you.
you'll get a final that will
Okay.
have the transfer on it.
Okay.
Dude, does your hand hurt? Trying to keep up with those notes.
Okay, thank you. Do we need a motion to amend that, the transfers, if we're adding?
So we're going to actually ask you for a motion to approve, instead of sales tax that's shown here, transfer from the general fund to the highway fund for those same amounts, going to the same places. And then in addition, we're going to need a motion for the funding of the master plan, utilizing the sale of equipment also.
All right, so I'm requesting a motion to fund the master plan from the sale of the equipment.
Then in addition to that, funding a transfer from the general...
Should these be two separate motions?
No, it's all the same.
Okay.
All budget amendments. Funding a transfer from the general fund to the highway fund using the money from the sale of the equipment.
And then funding a transfer of money from the highway fund to the general fund.
General fund to the highway
From the
fund.
general fund to the highway fund using the...
Sale of equipment.
Sale of equipment. Thank you.
All right, so do we have a
Okay, requesting a motion.
I'll make it.
And second?
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, unanimous, thank you.
The third category is personnel. Ryan Riper, who's the engineer and director of planning, is requesting to attend the 2026 New York Planning Federation Conference in Cooperstown from April 19th through the 21st. The conference involves overnight travel, and therefore board approval is required.
Request a motion to approve travel.
So moved.
Second? Aaron, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously, thank you.
The second item under personnel, Sue Baldwin, our town clerk, is requesting to attend the New York State Town Clerk Regional Training in Schenectady at the Landing Hotel from March 15th through 16th. Again, overnight travel requires board approval.
Requesting a motion for this. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
And lastly, Daniel Jones, our court officer, has submitted his letter of resignation effective March 16th, 2026. We do have another court officer, there are two, but we'll be down to one until such time as another one is hired to replace Daniel Jones.
And that,
Accept his resignation?
Yes.
yes, okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. There's one item that you and I talked about that didn't appear on here.
Correct. So we have a draft version of a contract between the town and Mark Mikens for any potential help that Mark may provide to the town on request.
Consulting to the building department.
Right. We determined that at the time, a spare salary would be his hourly rate at the time that he had left town employment. We prepared the draft, which was reviewed by council, and you know, everything was presented to Mark for signature, and Mark came back with a request to increase the hourly rate to $60 an hour. Still, it would be approximately up to 15 hours a week that he could be called upon to help the town, again, on an as-needed basis, not that it will be always 15 hours a week. And the date was originally, I believe, April 6th. That would have been the end date of the agreement, and now, because of the time that has elapsed between the initial discussion related to this draft and where we are now, it is proposed that we change the date to April 30th. so that it provides enough time for known upcoming items that are going to need Mark's counsel.
And there actually are some things have come up now that actually need, but we're probably talking 3 hours, 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're not talking a lot.
Right.
So, okay.
So that's basically informational, and it is, of course, pending any review, additional review.
So I make a motion that the town board approves this contract at $60 an hour with Mark Mykins to provide consulting fees at no more than 15 hours a month. The contract will terminate the contract will terminate at the end of April 30th. And that the town board approve this contract agreement in substantially
the form presented.
In substantially the form as presented. However, there might be minor adjustments with the final approval by the supervisor. So, requesting a motion?
Yeah. I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
And all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
And then lastly, we have my annual internal review of the Justice Court records. The Office of Court Administration requires that the town board review the Justice Court records every year. I utilize the New York State Comptroller's Office guide, which contains an audit checklist. So I use that. I select samples from both justices. I conduct the review. I noted no exceptions. There is one part of the review that could not be complete, much to do nothing with the court administration people that we have here, but New York State DMV has a report called T-SLED, and it is a listing of all pending cases by how many days a particular fine is open, and that report could not be run, and it is not determined. We reached out to DMV today, and DMV cannot determine when that report will be available to run. So therefore, I'm going to submit my audit to the Office of Court Administration with the information that we have now, with the notation that T-SLED was not available because DMV did not make it available. So I will be providing a board resolution for the board accepting my audit along with the audit work papers to the Office of Court Administration.
Okay.
I just need a resolution to accept. I know no exception, so everything was in good order.
Sure. I make a motion to accept this recommendation.
And second?
Second.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, request a motion for adjournment for an epically long town board. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Big aye.
Josh?
Thank you, everyone out there who...
Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic job setting that up and getting